Hello, everybody. We are the Astronauts dev team. If you don't know who we are, we can do a quick little introduction. Should we go left to right on the Who's Talking section?
Sure. So I'm leftmost. I'm Dan. I started Blue Bottle Games, made Neo Scavenger, and I am now working on Astronauts.
My name is Corey. I am a writer for Astronauts and a designer for Astronauts.
Hello, I am Joshu, and I am a community manager and programmer for Astronauts.
Hi, I'm Naiba. I've done a few of the ship designs for Astronauts.
And I'm Crusoe, and I do design and some implementation, non-programming.
Awesome, great. So there you go, everybody. That is the team. Today, we are hoping to show off some of the new stuff we are making for the 0.11 update, which is all about combat. I think I'm just going to start rolling with the sort of tutorial area bit, and I'll let the other guys start talking. If people have questions, this is the kind of Twitch stream where questions, we love them, hit us up, ask about the game. Yeah.
Yep. So we're calling this one, I think it's Pistols and Punches on the roadmap. It's basically personnel combat and the consequences from that. And so in a sort of short nutshell, that is, you can beat people up, you can equip weapons, you can get injured, you can fix those injuries, you can get in trouble for various things. And then sort of inadvertently, because we added combat, we had to change a lot of the UI, and you're going to see a lot of those changes here. In fact, you can already see a few of them. The message log is moved over. The inventory screen now has a little bit of usability improvement to help you notice where the grids are when they first appear on the screen. Josh, if you right-click on something, we can also get a view of, in the top right-hand corner now, there's all this in-game information about the thing that you currently have selected. And there are multiple things in every tile, so if you keep clicking that tile, right-clicking in that tile, it'll cycle through it to show you everything in that tile. But that's just like descriptive stuff, an image of it, any conditions that are on it that you'd know about, whether it's damaged or not. And then you'll also notice at the bottom, the context menu is now a permanent feature on the UI, and the list of things you can do to it are shown at all times at the bottom. And that will update in real time. And you'll also notice there's some hotkey numbers next to those buttons. Those hotkeys are the 1 through 4 alphanumeric keys. So you can actually just select a thing and hit an alphanumeric rather than having to hit the button with the mouse. And actually, this build is bleeding edge enough that it even has one of our most recent features, and that's the quick action buttons at the bottom have tooltips, which will tell you what that action does, but it'll also tell you if items are needed to do that action, or if you need certain conditions on you to be able to complete it. So hopefully a lot of this just sort of dovetails into making it easier for a new player to know what they're looking at and what they can do at any given point in time.
Yeah, we found in testing that the quick action bar, we're calling it down at the bottom, especially when you're, let's say, breaking down a derelict, just makes it so much faster than having to click in world and navigate the kind of radial we had before. Now you can just kind of click on an item and hit a hotkey if you're like uninstalling or restoring or anything like that. And we even added some hotkeys on the side there to cycle. The 7 and the 5 and the 6 over there, if there's like a ton of actions. And there's also grouping for whether you want to see the combat interactions, the social interactions, or the install interactions. So all that translate to much faster play, we found, and just smoother, as well as we're able to kind of cram a lot more sort of tutorializing into the game via kind of text up here in the top right, both tutorializing and lore through those items and stuff. So yeah, a lot happening in the UI UX changes, all because when we did our first combat prototype, we were like, it's very annoying to click on people and then right click and then stab them. So we're like,
Yeah, I mean, you're doing
let's
like a
change
punch
the-
every second or every second and a half. You don't want to be like right click punch over and over
yeah.
again.
We were like, is it possible to just press a button and punch? And that's, speaking of, there seems to be somebody dragging somebody around down to your bottom. Just over there.
Were they dragging each other? They were kind of like going back and forth.
They're in a tussle, some type of tussle. Oh,
There's some
it's
kind
a
of-
human centipede.
We've run into a
I've
weird
never
bug
seen-
here, folks.
Is that a bug? Maybe they're just actually dragging each other. That's
It's a
unreal.
K-leg conga.
It's just some sort of spacer tradition, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure they're
I've
all
never-
going to pee on the rear wheel of the bus after this. So.
I've never seen anything like that. That's great.
There was some early testing when we were adding dragging, where I did make a big conga line. So I have seen this before, but I didn't think it was naturally possible with people who are awake.
A naturally occurring conga line.
Happy Cat says OMG factory reset for doors. Yes, there's some door stuff that we will show off as well in this. That makes
So we've deliberately
difference.
chosen to make a character beforehand with a couple of the skills we are interested in, and one of those was hacking. We made sure we got the hacking event. So finally, when you get the hacking skill in character generation, it actually can be useful. So I've just factory reset this door. Now, when I access the lock, you'll see there's a nice little flashing LED, factory reset mode. When flashing locks in factory reset mode, enter new pin code followed by the lock or unlock button to set new pin. So for example, let's just pick a random number and then I can lock it. And there we go. We have now locked this door and we've locked ourselves into this room. Luckily, because we know the
Do you remember
pin,
what that was?
it was...
Hey, you could always hack the door if you forget, because you have the hacking skill, right?
Oh, in fact, yeah, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear that, and because we've got the hacking skill, we can also use PDA to hack pin code.
That's really the main reason to have the hacking is because you immediately forget your pin.
Always.
That's how everybody learns to be a hacker.
Yeah.
Oh, we are running at 2 times
Yeah.
speed.
We have a question in chat that I'm very happy to answer, or we are, which is, can you stab people with a screwdriver? And the answer is absolutely.
Yeah, there's an attack mode. I won't say there's like a 1-to-1 special attack mode for every item in the game, but like most of the items in the game have an attack mode that is very, very similar to what you'd expect. So stabbing with a knife or a screwdriver, or like swinging a crowbar or a bat, or slashing versus thrusting with a sword. Guns will have shooting with the gun, but also pistol whipping. So a lot of those weapons have multiple attack types, and it should intuitively match what you'd expect.
You
And
can
you'll
even hit
also
people with trenchers or clothes or
Yeah, anything is basically usable as a weapon. So,
Yeah, that's intentionally part of the design, is we were like, wanted it to be a kind of an anything can be a weapon style combat, so that can be kind of scrappy as well as have some narrative to it. Like, oh man, remember when I smacked that guy in the head with the got power drill? That was cool. And also sometimes you just get jumped and you just got to swing with what you have in your hand, you know?
you got what you got.
toolbox fighting is pretty common for me.
And things break. Just to sort of warn everybody in advance. Things that you attack with and things that you're wearing in the location you've been hit, they will get damaged. And I've beaten the EVA suit off of somebody with a crowbar before, so protect your stuff.
Yes, can you attack people with the laser? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think that's one of them that we went out of our way to create special damage for and sounds and stuff, but maybe I'll stop spoiling.
Yeah, it's one of the better ways to get through armor, actually.
I think the one caveat there is things which are not intended to be used as weapons probably will break down sooner if used as a weapon. So you can use like a laser torch a whole bunch of times as a normal tool, but if you use it to like basically burn stab somebody, it'll break a lot faster.
Now there's a start tutorializing Easter egg thing where you get a knife. So you'll see here in his loyalty, IoT Miwa loyalty tote, and now in his hand there, we got a knife, tactical knife, with a little description up there. And we see it's got its blade, sharp edge, got a sharp point, and then all that stuff will matter if we need to stab through some armor, as an example.
There's a comment in Discord. Crowbars are pretty sturdy and could probably be used as a weapon. Crowbars, yeah, notwithstanding, they are definitely meant to be bashing things and they won't break as quickly. But trying to smack somebody with your PDA, on the other hand, usually will break the PDA. And yeah, that's a good point, Happy Cat. We also changed sort of the way you read gas information, and it's now right next to the cursor. So on the left-hand side, you'll see gas information right under where the cursor is, but only if that gas information is dangerous to you. If it's in an area with, or I guess if any of the values are safe, they just won't be shown. And then on the right-hand side of the cursor is a really brief name of the items that are under the cursor. So rather than like the mobile space systems model M01 white wall, blah, 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 and you have to read that whole thing and parse it, it just says wall. If you want to know the fine details in the description of the object, that's what the top right-hand corner will show you if you right-click on it. We call that the mega tooltip or the MTT. So that's kind of like if you want to learn lore or like descriptions of objects and things like that, that'll all be up there.
You can also collapse the MTT for when you don't want to see that stuff. It'll come out if you click something new, but yeah. So hopefully, I mean, I remember when I first played the game, just because we're in a unique position where everything in our game is kind of like what we call a game noun, which means it's like interactable, can be interacted with. So I do remember when I first played Astronauts, I was like, I don't know what all this stuff is, you know? I mean, like, I don't know what a lift is, for example. And so we're hoping that the tooltip descriptions help people understand, like, oh, this thing jutting out from the side of the ship is what makes it thrust. Or this is a heater, this is a cooler, that type of a thing. And also, we have some descriptions of how to use that stuff.
Another question on Twitch. When is this update planned to go live? So I think the plan is what you're seeing today, or something very much like it, is going to go into public beta. It's called the public test branch on Steam, and anyone will be able to opt into it and try it probably later today. And then barring any catastrophe or delays that we aren't able to get past, we're going to try and get the actual released version of this out the following Friday, so the 31st. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to get some hands-on, some early sort of sneak peek playtime with it. Maybe you'll be able to give us some feedback if things are working well or not. And then yeah, we're hoping that the world at large will be able to play it on Friday the 31st.
Yeah, so if you're in this stream, please opt into the beta at the end and go cut somebody up with a laser torch and tell us how it feels.
Yeah, I think the build that's there now is still the old one, but after this stream, I'll probably flip the switch so that it's the new one.
Johnny Storm asks, favorite new feature besides punching someone in the face?
I think my favorite might be the quick action buttons at the bottom. Or the mega tooltip. I can't decide because there's a ton of lore written for this game, and the only way you could see some of it before was on the website, which is no longer available. So now the mega tooltip gives us another chance to start surfacing a lot of that information again, and we'll be able to like hang more and more information off of that as we go.
I would say the the quick action bar down there. I agree. It just speeds up play so much, especially for experienced players. It's just a lot. It's just a lot smoother.
I also like that, when you right click on something, in addition to the top right hand corner showing you all this information about it, the bottom shows you everything you can do with that object. Which you could get before if you right clicked on the context menu, but you had to go right click on a thing, right click on which of the things in that tile you wanted, and then you got a list of all the options there, and then they were radially oriented, which frequently meant that the option at the top isn't always at the top the next time you open it, and you can't find it quickly. And I don't know, it just feels like this is a lot more concise. I can find what I'm looking for.
This is a pretty
You'll
cool
see
find.
Here, yeah, it really is. That Josh is docked to his first derelict.
And it's full of oxygen,
And
which
it's
is
just
highly flammable.
Yeah, tons of oxygen. Don't really find that. Usually it's N2, right? In this ship? Or oh no, there's a lot of oxygen, man.
I think there's
Yeah, it's
different
an
versions.
oxygen tanker.
Oh right.
Yeah, there's an oxygen one, a gas one, a fusion fuel one, or sorry, nitrogen, and then like a blank one.
Oh, I've been wearing this helmet for a little bit too long. I'm just going to go into a safe environment for a second and take this thing off.
I would say, in addition to the things that they've said about favorites, my favorite might be additional kiosks, either for medical treatments and like long-term expenses that you can save up for, as well as the flotilla has some traders now.
Yeah, it's a good point. There's like more like services and facilities available to you in this build than would have been before. And then I guess like because we haven't seen it yet, it skipped my mind, but NPCs are starting to care more about things you do in the game in this build. I'd say it's still a far way away from realism, but like beating up somebody or disassembling the space station can get you into trouble pretty quick. Whereas before, people were just like taking apart K-Leg and selling it back to K-Leg. So stuff like that, every little bit just kind of like reinforces the system simulation to feel a little bit more immersive.
Yeah, and the derelicts have more danger on them, which is that was always the plan, but it does make scavenging a little bit more exciting to kind of be like, ooh, what might happen while I'm on this ship. And I'm really excited to develop that system more and more, so there's all kinds of kind of narrative, micro-narrative, procedurally generated micro-narratives every time you board a ship, like that was one just there, like, oh, we found an oxygen tanker. That was just proc gen, but now imagine any number of things that could happen in there that I won't spoil, and so that's all very exciting as well.
Yeah, I think personally, I just love the juice that we've been adding lately. Like that, when you do things to people and items, there are more animations. There's a bit more sound. There's a bit more like screen shake and stuff. Like the game is really starting to feel like you exist in this world, and yeah, it's when we get into a fight, you'll see, and it's very fun and a little bit too addicting to punch people in the face.
It rewards you a little too much.
It's the first time we've done a development cycle where we focused really closely on the sort of what we call juice in the industry, which is just like things shaking, animations, particle, just anything that just kind of provides immediate feedback. Normally we're much more systems oriented, but we're like, well, if we're doing combat, like it's got to feel good. It's got to feel good to smack somebody. So that's been fun to design from that perspective, because normally we're systems first.
Yeah. Like one of the things Neo Scavenger could kind of lean on as a crutch was that it was turn-based. So you had plenty of time to read the log, re-examine what's changed in the UI, and then plan your next move. Here, when we got into combat, like it, even with auto pause and frequently manually pausing, the battle can move very quickly, and like understanding what just happened in the last half second. Sure, the log can tell you that, but we decided, you're going to need more feedback than just the log. You're going to need sort of intuitive kind of sounds and motions and things to kind of wrap your head around. Like this is what the gravity of the last action was like.
Speaking of, do you want to keep autopause on? Are you gonna play with autopause?
I
Oh
guess.
yeah, I would probably turn that off. Just because of that.
Oh, dear.
Hello. Um, just because of the way it auto pauses when you're like right at the end of a strike, but before the hit hits.
They're alive.
Yeah.
They're alive. Yeah. Wow. We've discovered Cameron Baxter, the 32-year-old shipbreaker from Mercury, who is gasping, dirty, unconscious, and coughing blood, and now you're being dragged into the void in a dish. Are you gonna save this
No, I'm
person?
going to try and save him. Yeah.
Nice.
No, they're not gasping
Oh,
anymore.
man. There's not a lot of room on your cockpit there.
Their head is technically in the cabin.
Yeah. I'm pretty ssure they're indoor. They're a young adult.
Well,
They've
they were a prisoner on Prokofiev.
Ooh, escapee.
This person had some enemies. What happened? They got stabbed in the stomach or something?
Yeah, they obviously must have tried to make a getaway or something. Let's see if they've got anything. Ooh, shoes.
Those look a lot like the shoes he was wearing.
Yeah.
He stole a shoe salesman's ship and
Oh, that'd be so cool to nurse somebody back to health and then hire them for your crew. I didn't think about that. That'd be badass.
Let's see what's in this crate as well. Nothing. We can put it in our hand, and now we've got more space. Let's see. That toilet is looking super dirty.
when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah, we don't know how long this stabbed man has been on this trip.
Oh, I think I left my saw. Did I leave that on this?
Yeah, you put it in the toolbox. Toolbox on the floor.
Right, okay. It is somewhere then at least. No, come on, get in.
It'd be so funny if this guy wakes up and just starts attacking you.
So because he's from Prokofiev, he's not likely to be hostile to us.
Yeah, it looks like there's no faction assigned to them, which basically we don't have factions for any of the worlds that you can't get to yet. So they
I guess we
are
haven't even talked about factions yet, have we?
so they would be neutral to you. And yeah, we haven't mentioned factions at all. The factions right now are still pretty basic, but everybody at least belongs to a faction of themselves. But they also are optionally members of like the K-Leg local authorities or K-Leg management or the scavenger faction or the flotilla faction. So as you, like if you were to beat up somebody from one of those factions, it's supposed to model word spreading that you're an enemy of that faction. And the next time one of them sees you, they might be like, hey, there's that scum, get him. So there's a little bit of incentive to at least not be a jerk to everybody you see.
Johnny Storm asks, can we arrest or kidnap people in game?
You can't arrest. Right now, the only the only arresting is done by law enforcement. But I mean, as you can see with Josh here and or Destiny dragged Baxter onto the ship. I mean, you can technically kidnap people. We just kidnapped Cameron. So yes, I guess on the second part. Oh, and one of the reasons that we went through the trouble of finally making pin numbers on doors editable is so that A, if you do manage to get somebody like that on your ship and you don't want them to get out and come after you, you could lock them in a room. And B, if you don't want someone like that coming onto your ship, you can lock them out of your ship, assuming you have a lockable door between you and the airlock.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily, someone's unconscious, drag them into a room, lock them in there with some food and water, and I guess they're your prisoner at that point.
Yeah, and like all of the previous stuff that existed with like relationships and social moves. Oh, we haven't even talked about that yet. But so like you can still quote unquote work on a person and get them to like you just by treating them nicely and having nice conversations with them. And like even an enemy can eventually end up being your friend. And all of the usual things apply there where it's like if they're a hireable person, you could try and hire them and they could be on your crew. Now, the only people who are not hireable currently are law enforcement personnel. I forget if managers are or are not hireable, like K-Leg managers. And then like unique NPCs like the Fixer won't agree to work with you. But yeah, like the system was already there for you to hire any of the rest of the people in the universe, and that still applies here, even to somebody you've beaten up and thrown into a prison, provided you sort of claw your way back from that bad reputation.
You want to close that zone tooltip, or you want to make a zone?
Maybe I'll just make a zone. Maybe people need to know how to make zones. Oh wait, no, I have to select the thing first. Yep, there we go. Add a new zone. There we go. What should this be? Barter? Yeah, then I can sell the stuff from those
Seems
crates.
good for the barter zone. Yeah. For those who haven't seen this yet, you can kind of sanction off and segment certain tiles of your ship or anywhere, I think, to be zones like haul stuff over there, or now that that's a barter zone, we can just sell to various shops directly from there, so you don't have to drag everything onto the ship, which is great.
And vice versa. If you buy something and there's no room in your inventory, it will also try and put it into the barter zone on your ship.
Our ship is obviously quite cramped, but for those who have been playing for a long time, they have these huge tankers with all the space. You can turn an entire wing of your ship into a barter zone and just sell everything en masse, which is great.
Just gotta get some floors and extend your open air right side.
That makes me wonder, can you turn a netting into a barter zone? I guess you can, huh?
Yeah, anything.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I think any tile technically can be a zone. If there's
So
nothing
even-
in that tile, you may not be able to place anything there, though.
Right, yep. But containers work too in the tiles that you've selected.
But yeah, I sort of mentioned it before and drifted off into other stuff. The social system in the game has changed a bit. All of the mechanics of it are still there, but that giant ass UI that came up before with all the stat bars and the portraits and all that, that's gone. So now it's a little bit more like talking to a person in a regular computer RPG. You'll see what they say in the logs. You'll see what you say in the logs, but you're not trapped in a UI anymore, stuck talking to one person. Everybody can walk away at any point. And even some of the NPCs, like you'll see talking to multiple people at the same time. They like reply to this guy and then turn to the other guy, reply to that guy, and then those guys will talk back. And so it's a little bit more free flowing now. and hopefully less likely to get you trapped in the UI and less intimidating because you won't see that UI. But all of those sort of underlying mechanics of like, are they too terrified to talk to you right now, or are they feeling like too pestered for privacy and they don't want to talk to anyone right now? Like all of that still exists, and you're going to still have all of the same options to talk to them that you had before. Did you find
Wow,
another one?
I found another guy. I don't think there's enough room to save everyone, but right, we're just doing a medical mission, you know.
Another person that's alive too. I feel like that's rare.
So you found a criminal that escaped from the prison on Mercury, and now you found a criminal from Venus.
I'm just finding all the criminals, you know.
Not a criminal, an illegal. There's a difference.
They have a sick backpack.
Wow, the
Did you see
ship is
that?
just fine.
Ship
Yeah,
seems
mostly.
pretty good.
Other than the tanks.
You should take that ship.
They were probably in the middle of fixing it up and somebody crashed into them.
Yeah, this is. Now, I do want to
Just
take
a
the
little
ship, but
flashing.
I also want to get onto adventure, and so I'm like a little bit debating.
I see. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can't resist the allure of fixing up a ship.
Well, do you
I mean, the
know
lights are
it's-
flashing, right? You know, when the lights flash, that your brain just activates. Like, how do we make this not flash mode? You know.
Well, it's relatively fixed. I'm saying if you do end up in a fight later, you got to you're standing in a fight zone, you know. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting in that little bitty.
True.
Open air.
I mean, what more needs to be done? Just the the lights obviously are annoying.
Yeah.
Polish up the door a little bit.
I don't want this
Yeah,
door
you'll get
breaking
there.
on us.
So you can see the wear now on these items in the up there on the tooltip, which is good. So that flashing light, see, it's got low wear up there in the top right, and as Josh works on it, bar goes up. Everybody loves bar goes up. And hey, it's not flashing anymore.
Oh, that light outside is flashing. We're gonna have to undock to do that.
You shouldn't do to. You've got
Yeah, you've got the pickup truck. That's pickup truck's secret power. You don't have to undock.
Very true.
Ooh.
Oh,
Better.
that battery was so close.
Oh man.
You can just take off your helmet in here, right? You're good.
I'm just in like, you know, danger alert mode, but you know, you're totally right.
That nav station's kind of borked too. Does it need like a full repair, or is it just a restore? Oh, so
it's
close.
this guy is previous owner of the ship was either incredibly lucky or incredibly unlucky.
Well, it looks like they're incredibly unlucky because they're currently gasping in your other ship. So
Let's see what else is.
and you don't need all those gas canisters. You can just kind of uninstall those. Have a lot of room. You don't have to do that now, but this is a pretty good ship. I like this. Oh, they're full.
Yeah, some
They
of
got
them
stuff in
have
there.
got stuff in. Like this one, for example, has got a little bit of sort of normal air in it, but very little of the nitrogen and the carbon dioxide.
I mean, that's just because there's a big hole in it, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say it doesn't have anything in it. It's just a hole.
Well, it does say that it has
Oh,
20
that
kPa pressure inside of it somehow, so...
Yeah, that's because that's
Oh,
your
the
atmosphere,
atmosphere of the entire room has 20 kPa. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it has dawned on me what that is.
That's funny. Well, the system works.
Now, can we fix this light from here? I don't think we can we? Because the nav station's in the way. This one's...
You can do it on the while you're flying.
True. I can start flying somewhere else.
Happy Cat says, I like that people are often alive on Rex. Yeah, I mean, not as often as this stream would imply, but it does seem like they are.
So
Well,
something we've done for this
some of them-
stream is we have boosted the amount of NPCs that we're going to spawn as compared to what you might normally find, just so that we can hopefully get into a few more fights and show you combat. But as you're seeing right
yeah, we'd
now...
get there quicker if Josh wasn't such a goody two shoes and loved saving everybody he came across instead of just stabbing him with a screwdriver.
when I think about what these streams are for, it is partly for, showing off the new features, and it is partly for showing people how to play the game, sort of in the first place in a lot of ways. Oh, okay. Well, this person's dead, so we failed to
Okay,
save
well,
them.
you leave them on this ship. We don't need the dead guy.
But take her
Take the
backpack.
though.
Wow. Real Neo scavenger hours stealing the backpack of a dead person.
Hey, we know the value of a good backpack.
Poor Cameron making a quick hard transfer.
Well, he's a tough one. Tougher than the Venus dude, which is surprising.
Step says he's unconscious and dead. That's right.
So is it worth talking about how inherited bodily conditions affect your combat viability?
You can, but it'd make more sense we're in a fight first, probably. You mean because this unconscious person's going to be bad at fighting?
I just mean like what you get from living in space tends to not make you very tough. Or
Oh,
strong.
yeah. You should talk about that.
I think every opportunity we have, we should mention that, just because I think so many people don't realize that when they start the game, and they're like, why do I have all these bad traits? And those bad traits are usually unfit, feeble, fragile, visually impaired, difficulty hearing, slow metabolism. Just the thing to keep in mind is every character right now, when you roll up a new character, was born on an asteroid the size of like Manhattan. And it has maybe like a 20th of Earth gravity, limited sunlight, like no exposure to any of the things which make us healthy in our normal environments, circadian rhythms, none of that. So you're a husk of a person that is physically worthless. And getting out of that hole is going to take a lot of effort, like, exercise and special diets, and, like you have to put effort into that. And so I think a lot of people come out of character creation misunderstanding, like you haven't been penalized because you made bad choices. You start out in a really bad place, and you have to kind of like decide if it's worth paying for improving those things or just living with it and then, using the time to get other things. Now that said, Crusoe, did any of that stuff get addressed by the medical kiosk?
Not what you're born with, but any chronic conditions like asthma or tendonitis or scars, those can be treated now if you have enough money.
And that's partially related because in addition to all of these physical ailments you have from growing up in microgravity, you age faster. Like your life expectancy is approximately half of Earth's. And so you're going to hit middle age at like 28, 29 years old. And middle age comes with middle-aged problems. And similarly, as you get older and older, you get more of those sort of chronic issues. And so the things Crusoe just described in the medical kiosk will address some of those like aging scars and ailments and illnesses that you pick up along the way.
All right, we seem to have found a live person standing on this ship, and Olsen.
I'm going to put a knife in my hand, just in case.
They seem chill.
This is, they're a pirate, but maybe
They're
they're
not attacking us. They're drowsy.
Talk to him.
I don't know
always
what's
yelling at you.
giving me right now is AI is interrupted by a crime, which is a thing as a response we're not supposed to see. Which maybe note that down as a bug. They do keep saying, "Hey, it's that scum, get him." Have we broken something, perhaps?
So yeah, normally that would result in them starting to fight with you.
Let's
I wonder if
If you
they
hit them, they'll back probably.
let's stab him. Aha! So, feature that is just being displayed. I just clicked an action in the QAB on another person, sort of socially / combat. the game is now automatically paused because there's a button at the top here called auto pause, and this means that when you click to do social moves or attacks, the game will go forward a little bit and then automatically pause to give you time to think. Some people will prefer to play that way. Some people would prefer to play with it off. I left it deliberately on just so I could show it off the first time we get into this. Personally, I like seeing the animations more fluidly rather than having more time to think. Yeah.
And you'll also see for this fight here, you have options based on what you're carrying. So you can stab with your tactical knife, you can slash with your tactical knife, and then in his other hand, he's holding the lamp, so he can just smack him with the lamp as well. And when you do get a hit, it'll register over there in the log. See, Destiny Reeves, who's us, wailed on Ann Olsen's lower arm, upper chest with a knife stab. So we're slowly stabbing this person as they don't fight back for whatever reason. And now they're dead, so you are a murderer.
So now we have an option.
Only unconscious.
Yeah, we haven't killed them quite yet, Corey. But now what you'll see is some of the melee attacks have something where it says helpless, and then it's trying to tell you that this attack, as compared to other attacks, is maybe going to be a bit more of a scumbag move, and might have sort of social emotional repercussions stronger than other moves of the same variety.
Yeah, it'll hurt them more, but it'll make you feel bad unless you're cruel.
I mean, yeah, it's
Or
an
just in
unconscious guy. It's an unconscious guy, and you're like, are on the ground, and you can stab them now if you wanted to.
One thing worth mentioning is it's actually really hard to kill people, well, aside from like really powerful guns or something, or a really good lucky headshot. But it kind of takes a lot to induce the conditions that are fatal. It's not exactly like an action movie.
Unless you finish someone with stab their chest with a finishing blow, as it just said in the log. So Josh
Yeah.
did decide to off this person. Destiny Reeves shredded Ann Olsen's lower chest with a finishing blow, and then you'll see the stab there in the chest. Is this what you sickos wanted?
Well, the game's
Well.
auto-saving.
Step says, cook him. Cook him.
I think he's been suitably chefed up, as they say in England.
Scout says, win guns. We could find a gun on stream here. We could spawn one if we have to, but yeah, we'll get some guns. There's guns. There's probably guns out on these ships somewhere.
Sometimes you don't exactly want to be firing guns in your ship. They can be pretty potent to the hull at the moment.
Dan, do you know you're muted? Just making sure you know.
Thank you. I was going to say, yeah, we do have a few in the game, naturally occurring guns. And I think there's even one place you can buy them. Not all of them, but you will find guns in the game.
Oh yeah, we should go out there and buy a gun. That's something to do.
Yes, let me just rearrange my inventory a little bit.
Is your friend still alive?
Yep, still unconscious.
And they're getting better.
We love to see it.
What makes you say that?
They're no longer coughing up blood.
Oh yeah.
True.
Oh, hey.
I mean, it's still got some pretty strong looking pain, sort of lightning bolts. Actually, I should check myself. I haven't checked myself in a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's unconscious from pain shock.
So I do have severe burns, but I got that from a charging event. So that was not from
That's
the
from
fight.
your past.
My dark past. But yeah, there aren't any wounds on my paper doll, so looking and feeling pretty good.
There's a question about will there be cannibalism? If there is, will there be side effects like similar to Neoscav?
I think all things being equal, if we can add it, probably. Right now, corpses are kind of a weird object because they have to kind of both be a former human and like an object on the ground. And they're also composed of like multiple parts. So they're a little bit awkward to work with in terms of like game features and code. But the way it came about in Neo Scavenger was you could cut apart animals and then you could cook the animals and you could eat the animals. And now we have a dead human body in front of us. And well, I guess if you can do it to one, you can do it to the other. It's possible the same thing will end up happening here, but a lot of it kind of depends on, mechanically, is it going to be too difficult to make the corpse well behaved?
There's
I think
also just
space
settings
horror,
wise.
it fits in space horror, I guess, to answer the more philosophical question.
Yeah, it fits into space horror, but there's less of a pressing need in terms of the story setting to eat someone than there was in Neo Scavenger, where it's like dire food conditions, right? Like there's products in it.
I think that's true right now in the vicinity of K-Leg, but if you're on a multi-week trip to Saturn,
Right.
and like your food stores get blown up or something, and there's two of you left, and it's like one of you is going to starve to death.
It's which one of you's got feeble and which one doesn't, right?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly the kind of situation where it's like, well, do we eat the do we eat the other guy or not? So
Ziva says, is there consequences, like law enforcement coming after you, if you just went around murdering people? The answer is yes, there are consequences. Part of this patch is to include such things. Crusoe can probably explain it better than me.
but
Yeah,
we do
there's some,
have. Oh, go ahead.
there are some things that are counted as crimes in this jurisdiction, and then the the private corporate security are the faction responsible for addressing crime, and so some things are worth arresting, and you might have a fine or you might have some prison, and some things are like you're a public enemy and they will try to kill you if they need to. I don't remember what else I was going to say. Oh,
Yeah,
usually that
even-
requires somebody witnessing you do a crime, and then that'll put a tag on you that you're wanted, and people will come after you once there are cops in your space. So sometimes if you're too wanted, you might want to go to Flotilla and do your business instead of going back to the main station.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wanted enough, you can just step on a K-Leg and they're just all going to come at you. I just didn't want to pass up the fact that this guy was just floating around outside, and that was cool.
Was it just one, or is there another one here?
No, it was him, I thought. Andrew Goodman.
I think that's just the one guy.
Okay.
I wonder why these guys aren't aggroing on us.
So earlier
Well,
I had a load of
they're-
social options on him, but now I don't. I'm a little bit confused why.
It definitely
Normally-
looks like their aggro loop is not finishing. So they're starting the bit where it's like, I'm going to attack you because you're a faction enemy, but then they're just saying that over and over again instead of actually doing it.
There's a dead guy here as well.
Wow, there's a dead guy here, dude. This guy's bad.
And there's blood. And a salvage ticket. Wait, let's read that. Let's see if it's recent.
This is a murder scene.
This is not recent at all.
Speaking of blood, someone in Discord was asking if there is going to be blood spatter from like knifing somebody.
We've talked about it. So on one hand, we were talking about adding it to give you a little bit more feedback that your hit landed and how bad it was. On the other hand, if a person is in an EVA suit, the blood's not going to come spattering out, or at least it shouldn't. So it was a little bit of like there are reasons to do it and reasons not to do it, and I think until there's an overwhelming reason to do it, we probably won't.
Lab guy asks, are there going to be big space leviathans, eldritch spaceship whales? Perhaps this question is too much, but it does fit in space horror. No, it's not too much. We love our supernatural horror at Blue Bottle Games. We lean more towards cryptids, so the kind of shared boogeymen of different cultures sort of appear in Blue Bottle Games, such as the Dogmen and such and stuff from Neo Scavengers. So we're leaning in that direction for some supernatural horror. But yeah, there's a patch coming up where we're writing a bunch of that stuff in and including it as potential enemies and stuff like that. Is that
Yeah, I
next
think
patch? 2 patches from now.
I think it's a couple patches away. 13. So 2 away. The balance I think we'd probably be striking is closer to reality. In kind of in the vein of Alien or Aliens. So most of the stuff is pretty well understood. It's near future tech, but some of the stuff that are boogeymen people believe in, or like ghosts, or you know, stories people tell of being out at sea alone, like those kinds of things, also have a place, just as they did in Neo Scavenger, where it's like, I heard out in the woods there's a dog man that'll kill you. That ends up being a thing that's manifested. So I would say it's not like 50% fantasy, 50% sci-fi. It leans more towards sci-fi, but there's definitely an element of kind of cryptozoology and mythology.
It was Goatman where I grew up, by the way. Goatman was the cryptid from
Oh
Kentucky.
yeah.
Yep. Did you have
Is
a
that something
special
to do with
crypt?
a bridge?
Yeah. He lives this big bridge, trestle bridge, where people often go to the middle of it. I don't know why they do, but then often die just because a train will come and, you know, they misjudge how long it is and stuff. So people do die out on this bridge a lot, and then I guess people just started attributing it to Goatman or something like that. Or Goatman's real. I don't know.
Could be.
What is real?
That's what we believe. Did you have a special cryptid in your region? And will we put them in the game?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't research much in my area just because, like, you wouldn't reach it in Neo Scavenger, and like growing up, I don't remember anybody talking about like the Mothman lives out there or something like that. But I'm sure that kind of stuff exists. I think the Northeast tends to be steeped in a little bit more like old world stuff, like ghosts and banshees and witches.
Are you trying to get in a space fight?
I'm trying to ask this guy what's up, you know? I'm trying to, like, talk to him. But he doesn't seem to want to talk. He just wants to seem to run away. I'm wondering if it's something to do with the threat stuff we've added recently. It might be just this guy's terrified of us because we are carrying like several weapons and stuff like that, maybe.
Maybe. I feel like though the hey it's that scum get 'em line,
Screw it. Let's smack him with
they're
a crowbar.
supposed to basically get a cooldown on that, which basically says you've already said it once, don't say it again, and they're not getting that for some reason. So
And they may not be up for socializing if they're in a combat stance towards you.
yeah.
Are they fighting back?
Oh man,
No.
you're wrecking their suit.
I don't think they're fighting back.
So some other things to point out here is there are some UI elements you're seeing that are sort of in the world. There's this exclamation mark and there's the red arrows. The exclamation mark means that they've done some sort of social move to us and we have possible responses. The red arrows are like indicating that an attack is currently happening and like where this attack is going. Let's see if we can finish this guy off.
Holy. I think that'll do it.
Destiny
So we
Reads
added,
demolished Andrew Goodman's lower right leg with a finishing blow.
was gonna say we added camera shake whenever you land a melee hit on somebody or somebody lands a melee hit on you. And similarly, if somebody hits you with a ranged attack, your screen will shake. There's also audio playing when this happens, but because you have your helmet on, you can't really hear it. You'd have to be like in a room with atmosphere and your helmet off to be able to hear some of these noises. You're just trying to make sure this guy's dead, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's only unconscious right now, you know?
Put him out of his misery. I do see, it looks like a red error appeared in your console.
Aha. I think that's when I tried to strip the guy.
Okay.
Why have I gone around here? What am I doing? Have I broken that crate? No, the crowbars still fine. I was a bit winded though. I'm wondering if there's a way we can force more combat to show people potentially.
Are you able to go into the crate room?
I could do that. Yeah, that would be good.
That way you'll have the helmet off. You'll have a couple weapons lying around. So we're going to load up. This is kind of like a test room for when we want to quickly test combat. And it'll be a little bit more clean.
Yeah, we can show off some of the guns that you guys are wanting to see. Somebody in here likes a 1911, I think.
I'm running into a little bit of an orange area. Why is this going on? Windows.
It's,
why is Windows got a problem?
It's file access issue. Like, is it possible that the save file has like a file handle locked on it or something?
Let's make a new save name. Hello, Dream. Maybe I just need to give it a different name or something.
I have a feeling this application instance may be dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you make a game in early access, sometimes it goes wrong.
This game has been limping along for the last hour, and I think it finally died.
Right, we shall exit. There are some autosaves I see there. I might just quickly restart the whole application then.
I think that's probably the safest, yeah.
If you guys want to briefly chat to the people whilst I do this.
We'll create some chatter.
Yeah, saying they aren't aware of many space-themed cryptids, which is true. Like, there aren't. But that was an interesting writing challenge for us to be like, what kind of cryptids would develop in a space culture, and what kind of boogeymen arise in any culture, and why, like, what would happen out here. So we've developed a few of those, including the Mariner that's already in game.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, if you do a survey of cryptids or cryptozoology, it turns out to be pretty easy to make cryptids. You just take 6 different animals apart from each of them and mash them together. You make it only appear at night. We're not going to go that route.
That's pretty much it. Actually, just put an animal and then man after it,
Yes. That's the classic, right? Just dog man, moth man, lizard man. But then you have things like the hodog from, I think there was Wisconsin, somewhere around there, Wisconsin, Michigan, and that area. The hodag is like this weird kind of winged dog, lizard tail, fire breathing animal.
Josh, I think you need to go live on Discord. You're live on Twitch, but not Discord.
Right. Thank you for pointing that out. I would have totally missed that.
Stout. No, I haven't heard about this cryptid. You're saying it appears to be called an updog?
Welcome back to 2001. All right,
Okay,
everybody's just standing around minding
this is
their
the
own
crate
business.
This is the crate room, everybody. This is where we've been testing. This is where all the violence has gone down in our testing. So we got a katana on the ground. I guess this is the time to talk about the two different kinds of guns. So you'll see in Josh's hand here a what we call an HG, a hollow gel pistol. And this is what's carried around by the law enforcement and stuff. And it uses a kind of gel ammunition that kind of explodes and disintegrate, almost like hollow tip. And the reason is so that it doesn't penetrate ship hull. It will explode in you and knock you over and hurt you, but it doesn't penetrate too much. So that's like the kind of standard for what cops and stuff use in the universe. But there's still some actual real guns floating around from Earth, which is not so long in the past. And we'll see some of those in the room too. Some 45 caliber, I think, or something like that. Crusoe is the more of the gun guy here, so maybe you can talk about this 1911. An old Earth classic.
This is basically a copy over from Neo Scavenger. It's, I think, even the same brand from Neo Scavenger, a 45 caliber semi-automatic pistol. And actually, what I would probably do, Josh, is throw that stack of 8 rounds on top of the pistol. That'll load it. Put that in the HG hand, because I think your HG is empty anyway. And then your other hand, maybe grab the katana. And do you have any like strong or skills right now?
No. But I also don't have any weak things. Potentially I could give myself
You
that.
you also have a sword.
Yeah.
So I guess it's up to you. Like, if you want to maybe start a fight now, maybe with the katana first, and then we can see how that goes. If the hits are landing and they're weak, we can try giving you strong and/or skill with armed melee to see how that changes the katana strikes. And then as a finisher, we could use the pistol on somebody.
I have noticed a little bit of a bug with the name of the move, so I'm going to put the pistol down so I can stab this guy with the katana, because it was saying stab with the 1911, which wasn't quite right.
Oh, okay.
But hopefully, as people can hear, there are sound effects for using specific weapons.
Can you turn it up a little? It's a bit quiet on this end.
Sure. I think that one missed. Missed again. No.
This guy's dodging, dude.
Oh, we got him.
And he's dead.
He's not dead. He's just unconscious. Soon he'll be dead, though. Now he's dead.
Brutal. And those guys are just like, what's up?
Should I just try shooting him? Like,
Yeah, sure.
See what happens.
did that hit the wall next to me?
Hit the light, I think.
Aha.
You hit him. He's insulting you. This is how he's
Oh.
responding.
So this is one of the dangers of
Oh,
space gunfight, is immediate depressurization. If I just disable the fog of war a second, you can see we've put many holes in the station just by firing off 3 rounds at these people.
One of the things you can do is basically shoot anything in the game. It's like you could shoot a light out or shoot a door until it stops working.
Yeah, you just select any item in your vicinity and press shoot, and it'll shoot it and do damage to it and pass through and all that. The old Earth weapons have like high pen, so they are more likely to cause ship damage. But the the HG is what you want to use if it's a little safer. Like if you're fighting on your own ship, you probably want to use a hollow gel gun so that you don't destroy it.
Yeah.
Now, if you're fighting on somebody else's ship,
I have basically killed myself in this scenario here.
Yeah. You can barely hear it now because there's no air left in the room.
Yep. Okay.
Whoop.
you're back. This is a little preview of how we want people to think about combat, which is just like, it's serious, you know? Like, if you're firing a gun in this game, it's going to have consequences to the environment in this case, or to the social system and things like that.
Yeah, the physical consequences I think we were able to show. The social ones, for whatever reason, didn't seem to be firing. Because A, people who are supposed to attack you are not, and B, it looked like a lot of the fights that you actually did get into, the people were too afraid to really fight back. They were like either just like constantly defensively positioning themselves or just like running away.
Yeah, we're still tuning the values of how to make the AI fight the right amount of times.
Yeah. Actually, this particular build is a pretty recent one where we tweaked a lot of the kind of AI self-preservation. So they're a little bit less willing to fight now and a little bit more defensive. So we have to figure out if that went too far or if, on average, the right number of people are fighting versus running.
So I'm going to reload this save, and I'm going to try go to K-Leg to show off a few more social consequences, I think.
We got to figure out how to make a guy fight us. I think Crate Room there was working. Their fear was too high, I think.
We were just too good in that scenario, I think. Like,
well,
just
you were
kicked ass
carrying
so
a
quickly.
pistol and a sword.
The other thing about Crate Room is none of those people have any factions or relationships to each other. So one doesn't care what you do to the other. They're just like blank people. Basically, because Crate Room exists in a universe without planets or factions or anything. So in theory, if you go to K-Leg and you pick a fight with somebody, there may be somebody there who cares. So Steph says, you guys considering that some things might not be blown apart by an M1911? Yes, we were aware. We were aware that the bullet is not a rocket launcher, but these are also walls not built to withstand being shot by a 45 caliber. These are walls meant to hold air in and be as light as possible so that you can navigate around. I think when I forget which milestone it is, but when the ship-to-ship combat comes in, we are probably going to start looking into things like these walls are meant to take a hit, whether that's from another ship or internal fighting. But for now, like, think of this as like hiding behind the wall of like a Honda Civic, the door of a Honda Civic or something like that. It may not provide much cover for you.
Yeah, also, it's not even a 1911. Technically, it's a Deltec. Very powerful.
And it's true, these do get hit by micrometeorites, and they also get destroyed by the micrometeorites. So, I mean, everybody who's played the game knows that you can basically have your day ruined by a micrometeorite. I think I'm trying to remember what the damage value we assign to a bullet is, but it's less than a micrometeorite, if that gives you any indication.
Yeah, like jokes aside, we're basically just trying to create an ecosystem where there's like commonly occurring hollow gel weapons that are kind of anti-personnel and safe to use on a ship, and then more rare and dangerous these old Earth guns that are also pretty contraband. If you find one, you're like, wow, I can really do some damage with this bad boy.
Yeah, I think I've been
Almost
in a
like the
firefight.
opposite of most sci-fi, where it's like you have old guns and then new lasers. Ours is the opposite. The newer guns are like slightly weaker.
Yeah, when I got into a fight with a cop with a hologel pistol, I don't think any collateral damage was really happening. I was getting hit and they were getting hit, but like when it hit a wall, it didn't matter too much. But then if somebody pulled out an old Earth gun, which is really designed for a completely different environment, it started punching holes in walls.
Oh, the conga line's still going. Right, so this guy we've just come up is a shipbreaker from Atlantis. Right, they don't have any factions at NA. Have we broken factions? Potentially we might have.
That's possible. That's possible.
You're looking for somebody who was born on K-Leg in order to have a faction, I think.
Aha, like this guy. Who's accessing the transit and it's now gone.
They knew what you were up to.
Hey, we've returned to K-Leg.
Was that supposed to fire when you come through the airlock? Was that what that was?
I think so. It seemed to fire like when we went through there, though.
The other thing I think we've maybe discounted is the fact that this save game was created when you crashed the game before the stream.
Aha, right, yes.
There's potentially a lot of stuff that could have gone wrong in the save game when the game crashed while you were saving it. So we should maybe, when we go back and test some of these things that we're seeing now, we should sort of have that in the back of our minds.
Right, transit. Let's go to somewhere. I also managed to find an HG gun on the ground. I think that might have been from one of the conga line guys. So we've got a nice hologel weapon to potentially use. I see a question in Discord. Alright, so what's stopping you guys from putting in something that shoots a little faster, an assault rifle or an SMG?
Nothing. I think eventually we're gonna add a range of weapons. We just want to start with a kind of smaller roster and see where it takes us. But yeah, I could totally see somebody having an automatic weapon, or as you say, a shotgun, and maybe in both varieties, like an automatic hologel, shotgun hologel. Shotgun hologel would be sick, actually.
I'm just thinking of getting an AK and demolishing the whole side of the ship accidentally.
That'd be so awesome.
A good view.
It just cracks off and floats off into space.
I think
Yes, destruction
the other
potential,
limiting factor will probably end up being time. You know, like we are somewhat stretched thin trying to add stuff to the game, and the more time we spend adding further and further variety to weapons, the less time we get to add to things like fire or flying to other planets, or more equipment for ships. So it's a little bit of a delicate balancing act to make sure that we add just enough weapons that everybody has enough to be satisfied, but not so many that it's like all we added was weapons and now the rest of the game isn't done.
So I shot one of these guys in the hopes that someone will get angry at me. But it seems the conga line has got longer. Oh dear.
They're
This is
playing they're playing their own game, dude. They don't need you.
Yeah.
I think you've achieved conga singularity.
I'm shooting this bartender with the HG gun. And as people are seeing, like the casings sort of build up on the floor when you shoot the gun, so that you can sort of tell potentially when someone has shot before.
You're actually getting debug info on those shots.
Oh, is this an older build?
Or is it maybe the debug info still shows up for ranged but not for melee?
Oh, maybe.
That might make more sense.
I'm not being very effective against this guy right now. His suit is looking pretty messy though.
Well,
These HG
like
rounds truly are weak.
like I said before, I don't know how much I'm trusting this build after that crash we saw. So we'll have to.
You might have been being soaked up by the bar there.
Oh, that's true. So I guess it's worth pointing out that when you do make a ranged attack, it does a ray cast. So if there is stuff in the way, usually it'll take the hit before the target that you're aiming at. That's a good call. I forgot about that, Naiba.
Aha, right. Okay, there's a cop. Let's see if we shoot the cop. This should lead to
Oop,
stuff.
missed.
Okay, are we finally gonna get some confrontation? Uh-oh.
It looks like no.
We are a public enemy. I think maybe we are just like too beefy, too good. No one wants to.
My money is on the same thing that made that pirate repeat scum over and over and over again, is also stopping everyone else from fighting back.
Also, whilst we're here, we might as well show off the OKLG medical services.
Oh, that's right. We're there. Might as well.
So,
Yay.
if you have injuries or negative traits, you can use this kiosk to essentially try and remove negative things from you. Now, it will cost you quite a bit. And Crusoe, if you'd like to go into more detail, go ahead.
Yeah, so nanorobotic first aid you currently can't afford, it looks like. But that'll basically make you heal faster, and it'll disinfect any infection. Infection is actually kind of a problem, unless you keep your wounds clean and bandaged. And then the other service is even more expensive, but it should show you what the price is. Did it not?
But it didn't. I'm just going to magically add a lot of money to myself.
Here's the cheat, everybody.
Was that not it? Icon stat USD? Is it USD like that?
Capital S for stat.
Aha, yeah, probably. There we go. Right, let's add a bit more money than that. There we go, just casually $500,000.
Looks like it's only. Look at your cash bar.
So the cash is. In fact, let's just. Cost. Aha, right, 250,000. There we go. Sorry, I had to scroll back up.
There we go.
So yeah, so it costs you quite a lot.
The basic first aid should be like a couple thousand, and it still will take a while for your wounds to heal, but make it faster, much faster. I
say if we want chances of getting a fight, we might have to go back into crate room, but even then, it might not work without a restart, I would guess, right?
I might briefly try and make a new character and see if we can display stuff that way. Maybe there's something wrong with this particular save file. We do also have a different build we can always try, but it might have the same problems as this one.
I guess it's also worth asking, like, how long do we want the stream to be? We're approaching an hour and a half. I think we usually aim to be about an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
it's usually good length.
We can maybe take one more shot at crate room and then call it, probably.
With that in mind, if there are any other questions, now's a good time to start asking while we spin up this new character.
Are you making a weak or strong character here?
It should be pretty strong. They're unfit, but they're brave. They've got unarmed melee, they've got armed melee. Hacking, 0G. Wait, no, everyone has 0G. Work on traits. I might specifically
Steps
give them
asks,
strong.
when can we expect this to be out? So our original plan was to make a opt-in beta, basically what you're seeing today, available after the stream sometime later today. And then like officially put the patch out generally to the public on the 31st, next Friday. Now having seen what happened in today's stream, I want to go in there and check a few things to make sure that the bugs we saw are just one-off bugs, or if they're actually happening more commonly, then we need to get in there and fix it before we let anybody test that, because otherwise it's not going to be fun. So yeah, today's opt-in patch may or may not happen depending on what I find there, but one way or the other, when the patch goes out for opt-in testing, what I'll probably do is post something on the forums on Steam, post something in Reddit, post something in Discord, and then when the final patch comes out that basically updates the build for everybody in Steam, there'll actually be a full-on announcement on all of those places, plus the Steam announcements / news page. So if you want to know whether it was released either as an opt-in beta or as a final patch, those are the places where we'll post that information.
I'm sorry, Firstman asks, would NPCs feel gratitude for being rescued?
So I think right now there isn't like a mechanical, like, we gave them this social boost because they were rescued. But like I was saying before, if you do recover somebody from a ship and sort of help them back to health and generally get along well with them, like they could end up liking you, being your friend, or even, you know, agree to hire on with you. Slav Guy's asking, will there be more custom ships you can get while in the resume stage of the game? There's always a chance we'll add more. I think we're gonna probably reserve that for after some of the more important stuff is done. Like, generally the way we develop at Blue Bottle Games is we try and add like a few functional examples of a thing, and then we move on to the next feature / system and we add a few more functional examples of that, rather than spending a whole bunch of time adding like a lot of variety within one system, with the idea being once all of the systems are done, then we go back and we sort of backfill it with more variety later. That way at least the features get done, and then the content can come later. Well, he's dodging you.
That's something. You could give him a bunch of bravery if you want. That might.
Ah, right, yeah. How would I do that?
Stat security.
This guy's doing the Neo on you, dude. Just shooting him
Negative
over and over again.
75, negative 100.
The stat security.
Negative 200.
Oh, if I could spell security right.
All right, so that dodge move, there he goes.
Right. Okay. So there's obviously a problem with security right now that we need to fix. But essentially, when people feel
he's
brave
getting
enough, man, he's getting me. Okay. No. Quick, smack him with the toolbox.
So now this guy's not as stacked as your previous character, but you're stuck in the fight. Oh, he knocked your shirt off.
Yeah.
Is he shooting you or are you shooting him?
No, I'm shooting. I was shooting him, but I'm out of. Oh no, I'm not out of ammo. I just it changed slot that the attack was in. Oh, he's being dragged. We got him, boys.
Kill him.
Quick,
Oh,
free backpack. Let's go. I'd say that was pretty good, everybody.
So now you can see all your pains. Looks like bruises.
So I am coughing blood. Let's take off this shirt and see specifically. So yeah, there's a couple of bruises. There's some lightning bolts. I'm not the best for wear.
Yeah, it looks like you took some internal injury.
Yeah, abdomen and chest look like they got the brunt of it.
Oh, is this guy coming for me? Oh, another guy's coming for me. Okay. In a sec.
Oh,
He hit you with a powerful strike, bro. You gonna hit him with a tool? Hit him with a crowbar.
Oh yeah, I have a crowbar. Why am I using a toolbox to smack people?
Well, he's armored, so I think neither of these are gonna work super well. But let's see.
Melee strike, crowbar. Oh.
Oof.
Oh,
I think you
Well, that
predicted
one
wrong,
worked.
Corey.
one hit,
man.
dude. Right in the stomach.
Let's strip this guy off, get his stuff. Free backpack, you know.
Slava guy's asking, have there been any alterations in the tutorial so you don't waste so much fuel going left and right? There haven't been any alterations to the flying part of the tutorial. We did change the part where you have to uninstall the conduit or install the conduit to get out of the room because too many people were getting stuck there. The one thing I will say about flying in the tutorial, depending on the ship you have, it can be a vastly different experience. If you were using the hot rod, you're using an advanced ship and it basically runs out of fuel instantly. If you were using one of the other starter ships, you should have plenty of fuel to do all of those maneuvers and dock with the derelict and come back to K-Leg and potentially other derelicts. So it does depend a lot on the ship. Steps asks, any chance of dismembering people? I think that goes into the same category as cannibalism above. It depends a lot on how hard it is to make the system work for corpses. Let's see.
They are technically segmented, so body parts are like separable technically, but it might be hard to make them behave right.
Is there someone else we can give a little bravery to? There doesn't look like he's going to be armed. Kind of hoping that someone will be a cop, but I think I might have accidentally killed them all.
Yeah, you've emptied the place out.
To the next area.
We are.
Oh yeah,
we are at basically 2:30 now, or an hour and a half now. So if you want to show maybe one more thing, and then we'll probably wrap up.
Show the angle grinder?
Do I have that?
Do you even have it?
No, but I can spawn it. Yeah.
We might proudly be one of the only games on the market where you can use an angle grinder to cut through someone's armor and make them bleed.
Will
That's
it be
probably not
possible
true.
at some point choose what ship you start with? Like, be sure you start with the coffin without rolling dice. I don't know if that mechanic is going to change. Although there is an update coming where buying and selling ships is a thing. So in theory, like, you could start with one ship and then immediately sell it and buy a different one. Oh, you died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just from the internal bleeding. Probably you just dropped dead.
No, so this
Oh.
guy just came up to me and like smacked me around a bit. Whilst I was Linda, so this woman. Whilst I was trying to give some more security to one of the other cops, this guy.
They were one of your enemies.
Aha! So that's why they have the bravery to attack us, potentially. Interesting.
Was it from your character generation enemy?
It must have
Probably.
been, right? Yeah.
Wow, this came full circle. Somebody from your past just found you on the station and just straight killed you.
Probably the guy you started a riot to mug the schmuck, maybe.
Aha.
Oh yeah. Character creation came back to bite you.
So, folks, combat is going to be wrapping in more of these features that you have already seen a lot of the time.
Yeah. We've been sort of layering features on in preparation of combat. The injuries were there for a long time, but now you're going to get them. And some of the other stuff for like mitigating pain and all that, those are in there too. So they'll matter a little bit more.
You're gonna want to wrap your wound, stop your bleeding, put your splint on, carry around some pills.
But I guess we'll call it there. I mean, you're dead anyway. We've shown the things we wanted to show, except for maybe Flotilla. But
keep an eye out.
I think
We're gonna try to put this on beta soonish, assuming these bugs aren't.
Yeah, I'll do a few tests after this just to see what's what, and then if it's looking clear, I'll upload it. If it's looking really messy, I'll probably see what I can fix and maybe upload it after that. Worst case scenario, it'll probably be sometime next week instead. But we'll play that by ear.
And if you do get a hold of it, please do respond and tag us in general about what you think, what happened, what was cool, what didn't work. We take feedback very seriously, and always read it and always discuss it. So
yeah, we don't always reply to everything just because there's so many to reply to, but I think almost read every single piece of feedback we get. So.
Yes, especially if your feedback comes in the form of a Steam review. Like, we 100% read every single one of those. Like, definitely. And, things like that definitely feed back into, our design process. So you are heard.
Although if the Steam review is telling us about a bug, please tell us about the bug before you put the review, because we could maybe fix that bug first.
That's true.
True. Right, thank you everybody for coming along. I hope you all have a good night, and we will see you when we see you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Bye-bye.